Life often tests us in ways we never anticipate, pushing us to the brink of our endurance and yet revealing our hidden strength. This is the story of Logan Carter, a devoted father whose world was turned upside down by an unexpected accident. A single moment of compassion during his darkest days would alter his destiny, intertwining his life with that of a stranger and unlocking a path to redemption and hope. Logan, a man burdened by the weight of divorce, financial instability, and a crushing workplace injury, seemed to have exhausted every ounce of resilience he had. Yet, in the midst of his personal storm, an act of selflessness would set a series of events in motion, one that would not only save a young life but also offer Logan a chance to rebuild his own. What begins as a simple act of kindness spirals into a profound journey of healing, courage, and justice. Logan's sacrifice, driven by his unwavering love for his daughter, brings him face to face with people and situations that force him to confront the depths of his humanity. Little does he know, the chain of events he triggers will test his faith in himself and the world, but may ultimately grant him a second chance at life. As you read on, prepare to uncover a heartwarming tale of resilience, unexpected connections, and the transformative power of compassion. How does Logan's story unfold, and what extraordinary twists await him? Stay tuned to discover a narrative that may leave you reflecting on the profound impact of even the smallest acts of kindness. Logan Carter wasn't just a father. He was a man who defined himself by the sacrifices he made for his family. After his divorce, Logan faced the painful decision to give full custody of his daughter, Sophia, to her mother. Though it broke his heart to let her go, he believed this was the best way to ensure stability for the young girl. He wanted Sophia to grow up in the home she was used to, surrounded by familiar comforts, even if it meant he had to leave. The divorce left Logan with little more than his old car, a small apartment, and an overwhelming sense of responsibility. He chose not to contest the arrangement, believing that his daughter's happiness outweighed his pride or legal entitlement. Despite the strain, he maintained a civil relationship with his ex-wife, Amelia, ensuring they could co-parent without the bitterness that often plagues separated families. Every weekend, Logan picked Sophia up with a smile, taking her to the park or baking cookies in his tiny kitchen, determined to make every moment count. Financially, however, Logan was on the brink. His day job as a data entry clerk paid little more than minimum wage, and he took on a grueling night shift at a local construction site to make ends meet. For Logan, sleep became a luxury he couldn't afford. His days blended into nights, with exhaustion weighing on his body like a lead cloak. Yet, whenever Sophia's laughter filled the air during their visits, Logan found strength he didn't know he had. His sacrifices, however, didn't go unnoticed by his ex-wife. Amelia often reminded him that he didn't have to do it all alone, offering to help financially, but Logan's pride wouldn't let him accept her aid. "I need to show Sophia that her dad can stand on his own 2 feet," he'd say, even as his body and mind began to falter under the strain. His life, though tough, was fueled by his deep love for Sophia. That love would soon be tested in ways he could never have imagined. One cold winter evening, Logan clocked in for yet another grueling shift at the construction site. The site manager had warned them about icy conditions earlier that day, but corners had been cut in safety protocols. A regular occurrence Logan had learned to live with. As the hours passed, fatigue dulled his reflexes, but he kept going, knowing every dollar earned was vital for Sophia's future. Around midnight, Logan was tasked with inspecting a scaffold that workers had hastily assembled earlier. He noticed loose bolts and unstable planks, but before he could report the hazard, disaster struck. A sudden shift in weight caused the scaffolding to collapse, sending Logan tumbling down. The impact was brutal. He landed on his right arm, a sickening crack echoing in the freezing air. Pain shot through his body like fire, leaving him immobilized. The foreman and other workers rushed to him, their faces a mixture of concern and panic. However, instead of calling for immediate medical attention, the foreman muttered nervously about insurance complications. Logan was stunned to learn that despite working there for months, his enrollment in the company's insurance system had never been finalized. "I'm sorry, Logan," the foreman said, avoiding eye contact. You weren't officially on the books yet. There's nothing we can do. Logan's anger was outweighed by a sinking sense of betrayal. This job, the one he'd taken to secure Sophia's future, had now cost him everything. His arm was shattered, leaving him unable to work either of his jobs. When he sought compensation, the company's legal team swiftly denied his claims, painting him as careless. "We'll investigate," they promised, but Logan knew those words were hollow. Desperate, Logan attempted to return to his daytime office job, only to discover that his injury rendered him incapable of performing tasks that required extensive typing and computer use. Though his employer expressed sympathy, they placed him on unpaid leave, citing their inability to accommodate his temporary disability. For weeks, Logan spiraled into despair. Bills began piling up, and his once meager savings evaporated under the weight of medical expenses. His landlord hinted at eviction if the rent wasn't paid soon. Worst of all, he had to tell Sophia that their weekend visits might need to stop until he got better. The disappointment in her eyes haunted him, fueling his determination to find a way, any way, to make things right. In a last-ditch effort, Logan began searching for odd jobs he could manage with one functional arm. Storefronts, warehouses, and diners all turned him away, citing his injury as a liability. Each rejection chipped away at his resolve, but he pressed on, refusing to let his circumstances define him. As the winter nights grew colder, so too did Logan's prospects, leaving him with nothing but the echo of his own footsteps on snow-covered streets. Fate, however, had not abandoned him entirely. One fateful evening, as he trudged through the park, Logan would find himself faced with a choice. A moment of kindness that would change not just his life, but the life of someone else forever. Despite the relentless setbacks, Logan refused to give up. Each morning, he forced himself out of bed, his injured arm in a sling and his spirits hanging by a thread. He couldn't bear the thought of Sophia losing faith in him. "Daddy's a fighter," she would always say with pride. Those words became his mantra. Logan started his days by scouring online job boards, seeking any opportunity, no matter how small, that could provide some income. He visited countless businesses, enduring pitiful looks and polite rejections. Most managers wouldn't even let him finish his pitch. "We need someone fully capable," they would say, their tone sympathetic but firm. The streets became a familiar battleground, his determination warring against the biting cold and growing exhaustion. On one particularly bleak day, he trudged through snow-covered sidewalks, clutching a folder of resumes in his good hand. He tried gas stations, delivery services, and even offered to shovel driveways, anything to make a few dollars. Yet every attempt ended the same way: rejection. The weight of despair began to settle over him like the snow piling on his shoulders. Yet, as his financial situation worsened, his love for Sophia burned brighter. He wouldn't allow himself the luxury of quitting. "There's always a way," he muttered to himself, though he wasn't sure he believed it. One evening, as he walked home empty-handed yet again, Logan decided to take a shortcut through the park. The towering oak trees, now bare and snow-laden, stood like silent sentinels in the growing darkness. He didn't notice the stillness at first, too preoccupied with his swirling thoughts of frustration and hopelessness. But then, something caught his attention, a muffled cry, faint but unmistakable. Logan stopped in his tracks, his heart quickening. He scanned the park, the dim glow of streetlights casting long shadows over the snow-covered ground. The sound came again, faint and high-pitched, like a child's voice. He followed it instinctively, his pulse racing. As he approached a massive oak tree near the center of the park, his breath caught. High up in the branches, barely visible against the dusky sky, was a small figure clinging to the tree. "Hey!" Logan called out, his voice echoing through the silence. The child turned her head slightly, and Logan's heart sank. It was a young girl, no older than 6, her tiny frame trembling as she struggled to hold on. Before Logan could shout for her to stay still, the inevitable happened. The branch beneath her snapped with a deafening crack, and the girl plummeted to the ground. Logan's instincts took over as he sprinted toward her, ignoring the searing pain in his arm. He reached her just as she hit the snow-covered ground, the impact muffled but still alarming. Kneeling beside her, Logan assessed the situation with a mix of panic and determination. The girl was unconscious, her dark hair matted with snow, and a faint trickle of blood seeped from her forehead. His hands trembled as he carefully checked her breathing. It was shallow but steady. Relief washed over him briefly before the urgency of the moment snapped him back into action. Fumbling with his phone, Logan dialed 911, his voice cracking as he relayed the situation to the dispatcher. Following their instructions, he gently laid the girl on her side to prevent choking and pressed his scarf, now soaked in snow, against the wound on her head to slow the bleeding. The dispatcher's calm, methodical voice guided him, but the sight of the fragile child lying helplessly in the snow made his chest tighten. "Stay with me, kid," Logan whispered, his voice shaking. He scanned the park for any sign of the girl's family, but the area was eerily empty. He couldn't fathom how she had ended up here alone, in the freezing cold. His mind raced with questions. Was she lost? Had someone abandoned her? But there was no time to dwell on the unknown. The sound of sirens in the distance brought a wave of relief. Moments later, paramedics arrived, their bright jackets cutting through the darkness. "She fell from the tree," Logan explained quickly, stepping back to let them work. One of the paramedics gave him a nod of thanks before examining the girl's injuries. "Do you know her family?" another paramedic asked. Logan shook his head. "I don't even know her name. I couldn't leave her there." As they loaded the girl onto a stretcher, Logan hesitated. He felt an inexplicable pull, a sense of responsibility he couldn't shake. "I'll come with you," he said, his voice firm despite his uncertainty. The paramedics exchanged glances but didn't protest. Inside the ambulance, Logan sat quietly, his thoughts a whirlwind of worry and confusion. He didn't know what awaited him at the hospital, but one thing was clear. He couldn't walk away from this child. Not now, not ever. The ambulance ride felt like an eternity. Logan sat in the corner, his arm throbbing with pain, but his thoughts were consumed by the unconscious girl. The paramedics worked efficiently, checking her vitals and applying additional pressure to her wound. "She's stable," one of them said, more to reassure himself than Logan. Logan simply nodded, his heart heavy with worry. When they arrived at the hospital, the girl was rushed into the emergency room. Logan remained in the waiting area, the cold sterility of the hospital a stark contrast to the chaotic park scene just moments ago. Sitting alone on one of the stiff chairs, he glanced at his phone. For a brief moment, he considered calling Sophia, just to hear her voice, but he decided against it. This wasn't the time. Minutes felt like hours as Logan waited, his mind racing with questions. Who was this girl? Where were her parents? Why had no one been looking for her? A pang of guilt gnawed at him. What if he hadn't cut through the park that evening? What if no one had found her in time? Just as his thoughts threatened to overwhelm him, a commotion broke the silence of the waiting room. A woman burst through the hospital doors, her tear-streaked face frantic with fear. She was flanked by two men in dark suits, their calm demeanor a stark contrast to her visible distress. "Where's my daughter?" she cried, her voice breaking as she leaned heavily on the reception desk. Logan's heart sank. This must be her mother. The receptionist spoke calmly, explaining that the child was undergoing evaluation and that no visitors were allowed just yet. The woman, Anna, as the receptionist addressed her, broke down, her sobs echoing through the quiet space. Logan wanted to approach her, to offer some semblance of comfort, but he hesitated. He was a stranger in this story, after all. One of the suited men approached Logan, his expression guarded but polite. "You're the one who found her?" he asked. Logan nodded. "Yes, I saw her fall from a tree in the park and called for help." The man's demeanor softened slightly. "Her name is Claire. She ran away from home this morning after an argument with her mother. We've been searching for her all day." He sighed heavily. "Thank you for finding her." Logan nodded, unsure of what to say. His eyes drifted back to Anna, whose anguish was palpable. For a moment, he felt an inexplicable connection to her, a shared sense of desperation that only a parent could understand. As the hours dragged on, Logan remained in the waiting area, unable to bring himself to leave. Exhaustion weighed on him, but something kept him rooted to his seat. He needed to know that Claire was okay. Noticing Anna sitting alone, her face buried in her hands, Logan took a deep breath and walked to the cafeteria. He returned with 2 cups of coffee, one of which he tentatively offered her. "Hi, I'm Logan," he said softly. "I thought you could use this." Anna looked up, her tear-filled eyes meeting his. For a moment, she seemed surprised, but then her expression softened. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice trembling as she accepted the cup. Logan sat down a respectful distance away, unsure of how to proceed. "I just wanted to make sure your daughter is okay," he said, his tone gentle. Anna nodded, clutching the coffee like a lifeline. "It's been such a difficult time," she admitted, her voice heavy with guilt. "Work has been overwhelming, and I haven't been as present as I should have been. Claire must have felt so alone, and I didn't even notice." Her voice broke, and Logan instinctively leaned forward. "You're here now," he said firmly. "That's what matters." Before Anna could respond, the emergency room doors opened, and a doctor approached them. Both Logan and Anna stood, their anxiety written on their faces. "She's stable," the doctor said, offering a reassuring smile. "The head wound was minor, but she suffered a concussion. We'll need to monitor her for 24 hours, but I'm confident she'll recover fully." Anna let out a shaky breath, her relief palpable. "Thank you," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. The doctor continued, "She's also anemic, and the blood loss from the fall could have been dangerous if she hadn't received help when she did. Whoever got her here so quickly likely saved her life." He glanced at Logan, his gratitude evident. Logan felt a lump in his throat as Anna turned to him, her eyes glistening with emotion. "I don't know how to thank you," she said, her voice breaking. "You saved my little girl." Logan shook his head. "I just did what anyone would have done," he replied, though the weight of her gratitude was humbling. Anna's gaze shifted to his arm, still in a sling. "You're hurt," she said, her concern genuine. "I'm so sorry. What happened?" Logan hesitated, but the warmth in her eyes made him open up. He explained the accident at the construction site, the employer's negligence, and the financial strain that had left him in this precarious situation. By the time he finished, Anna's expression was a mix of sympathy and quiet determination. "You've been treated unfairly," she said firmly. "No one should go through what you've been through. You deserve justice." Logan shrugged, his weariness evident. "Justice takes money and energy, both of which I don't have." Anna's lips pressed into a thin line. "You're looking at one of the best attorneys in the country," she said, her tone leaving no room for doubt. "Let me help you." Logan blinked, unsure if he'd heard her correctly. "You'd do that? After everything you've been through tonight?" Anna nodded. "You saved Claire's life. The least I can do is help you get yours back." Though hesitant at first, Logan agreed, his heart filled with cautious hope. For the first time in weeks, he felt like the darkness surrounding him might finally give way to light. The next day, Anna wasted no time. After ensuring Claire was stable and under the care of the hospital's excellent pediatric team, she shifted her focus to Logan's case. Sitting in her office, a sleek space lined with shelves of legal tomes and accolades, she combed through every detail Logan had shared about his accident and employment situation. She quickly realized the construction company had not only been negligent but had actively tried to cover their tracks. The absence of proper safety measures, the delayed insurance enrollment, and the foreman's refusal to acknowledge fault painted a clear picture of systemic failure. Anna's reputation as a fierce and unrelenting attorney was well earned, and she intended to bring it to bear on Logan's behalf. Within days, Anna had filed an official complaint against the construction company. She tapped into her extensive network, enlisting a trusted investigator to gather evidence. Witness statements, site safety logs, and photos of the accident scene were meticulously compiled into an airtight case. Anna also reached out to her contacts in occupational safety agencies, ensuring that Logan's plight would not go unnoticed. As the case gained traction, Anna updated Logan regularly. They met in her office one afternoon, where she shared her progress. "The company's lawyers are already trying to settle," she said, her tone laced with disdain. "They've offered $100,000, but I told them it's insulting given what you've endured." Logan blinked in disbelief. "100,000? That's more money than I've ever seen." Anna leaned forward, her voice firm. "It's not enough. Not for the pain, the lost wages, and the negligence they displayed. We're demanding $150,000, plus a commitment to implement regular safety audits." Logan hesitated. "What if they don't agree? I can't afford to wait months or years for this to go to court." Anna's expression softened. "They'll agree," she assured him. "The evidence we've gathered is overwhelming. Trust me, Logan. They won't want this to go public." True to her word, Anna's pressure tactics worked. Within a week, the company's legal team caved, agreeing to the full settlement amount and safety measures. When Anna delivered the news to Logan, he could hardly believe it. "You're telling me it's over? Just like that?" Anna smiled, her eyes warm. "It's not just over, it's a victory. You deserve this, Logan. Now you can focus on rebuilding your life." For the first time in months, Logan felt a weight lifted off his shoulders. The $150,000 settlement was more than just money, it was a lifeline. With Anna's guidance, he used part of the funds to clear his debts, secure a modest home closer to Sophia, and set aside savings for her future. The remaining amount gave him the breathing room to rest and heal without the constant pressure to find work immediately. But Logan's gratitude extended far beyond the financial relief. He reached out to Anna, asking to meet her and Claire for lunch. It was a simple gesture, but one he felt compelled to make. They agreed to meet at a cozy cafe near the hospital, where Claire was still undergoing follow-up appointments. When Logan arrived, he saw Claire laughing softly as she played with a small stuffed animal Anna had bought her. She looked healthier, her cheeks flushed with color, and Logan's heart swelled with relief. "Hi, Claire," he said, crouching down to her level. "How are you feeling?" Claire smiled shyly. "Better," she said softly, clutching the stuffed animal. "Mommy told me you helped me." "Thank you." Logan's throat tightened. "You're very welcome," he said, his voice warm. "You're a brave little girl." As they sat down to eat, Anna turned to Logan. "So, what's next for you?" Logan took a deep breath, considering her question. "I want to focus on Sophia," he said. "I've spent so much time trying to survive that I feel like I've missed out on being the dad she deserves. This settlement gives me the chance to be more present for her." Anna nodded, her expression thoughtful. "That's a wonderful goal. And if you ever need legal help, or just someone to talk to, you know where to find me." Their conversation turned lighter as Claire chimed in, sharing stories about her favorite cartoons and how she was excited to go back to school. Logan couldn't help but marvel at how resilient children could be, bouncing back from challenges with a strength adults often struggled to find. As the afternoon drew to a close, Logan stood and extended his hand to Anna. "Thank you," he said sincerely. "Not just for the settlement, but for everything, for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself." Anna shook his hand, her grip firm but kind. "You did the hard part, Logan. You saved Claire's life, and you're building a better one for your daughter. That takes real strength." Logan walked away from that meeting with a renewed sense of purpose. The road ahead would still have its challenges, but he was no longer walking it alone. He had the support of Sophia, the gratitude of Claire and Anna, and the knowledge that even in his darkest moments, he had made choices that mattered. Over the following weeks, Logan kept in touch with Anna to check on Claire's progress. Every call or message from Anna brought updates that filled Logan with relief. Claire was recovering remarkably well, thanks to both the medical care she received and her mother's newfound dedication to spending quality time with her. One afternoon, Anna called with unexpected news. "Claire has been asking about you," she said, her voice tinged with warmth. "She keeps talking about the man who helped her. She even drew a picture of you. Well, it's mostly a stick figure with a sling, but she's very proud of it. Logan chuckled, deeply moved by the thought. I'd love to see it sometime, he replied. The opportunity came sooner than he expected. Anna invited Logan to her home for dinner, both to thank him properly and to let Claire show him her artwork. Logan hesitated, worried about intruding, but Anna insisted. You've already become part of our lives, Logan, she said. Let us show our gratitude. When Logan arrived, he was struck by the warmth of their home. Despite Anna's professional success, the house wasn't ostentatious. Instead, it was filled with the cozy charm of a family space. Claire's drawings were proudly displayed on the refrigerator, and her toys were scattered across the living room. Claire greeted him with a shy smile, clutching the drawing she had made. Look, Mr. Logan, she said, holding it out to him. This is you, and this is me under the tree. Logan knelt to her level, examining the picture as though it were a masterpiece. This is incredible, he said with genuine admiration. You're quite the artist. Over dinner, the conversation flowed easily. Logan shared stories about Sophia, while Anna opened up about the challenges of balancing her demanding career with raising Claire. I've realized how much I was missing, Anna admitted, her gaze softening as she looked at Claire. You reminded me of what's truly important. As the evening drew to a close, Claire fell asleep on the couch, her head resting on a stuffed animal. Logan helped Anna carry her to bed, marveling at the tenderness he saw in her interactions with her daughter. It was clear that their bond had deepened since the accident, and Logan felt privileged to have played a part in that transformation. Before he left, Anna paused at the door. Logan, I want you to know that what you did for Claire, it changed everything. Not just for her, but for me too. You reminded me to be present, to appreciate what I have. I'll never forget that. Logan nodded, his heart full. You've done just as much for me, Anna, more than I could ever repay. With the settlement money secured and his physical health steadily improving, Logan was finally able to focus on rebuilding his life. He moved into a modest but comfortable home closer to Sophia's school, ensuring he could spend more time with her. The house wasn't large, but it had everything they needed. A small backyard where Sophia could play, a cozy living room for movie nights, and a kitchen where they could bake cookies together. Logan also enrolled in a vocational program to learn computer programming, a field he had always been interested in but never had the time or resources to pursue. With encouragement from Anna, he saw this as a chance to build a more stable future for himself and his daughter. Sophia, too, thrived in the newfound stability. She loved spending time at her dad's new home, helping him decorate her room with fairy lights and posters of her favorite characters. It feels like a real home, Daddy, she said one evening, her smile brighter than the lights they were stringing. Logan's heart swelled with pride and gratitude. During one of their weekends together, Logan surprised Sophia with a visit to Anna and Claire's home. The two girls hit it off immediately, their laughter filling the air as they played in the backyard. Watching them, Logan felt a profound sense of peace. For the first time in a long while, he felt like life was moving forward, not backward. Anna joined him on the patio, carrying 2 cups of coffee. They're going to be inseparable, she said with a smile, nodding toward the girls. Logan chuckled. That's fine by me. Claire's a great influence. They sat in companionable silence for a moment, watching their daughters play. Then Anna turned to him, her expression thoughtful. Have you thought about what's next for you? Logan nodded. I want to keep moving forward. For Sophia and for myself. I've spent so long just surviving. It's time to start living. Anna smiled, her admiration evident. I think you're already doing that. The bond between the two families grew stronger with each passing week. Anna became not only an invaluable friend but also a mentor, offering guidance as Logan navigated his new career path. In return, Logan became a source of support for Anna, reminding her to balance her high-powered career with the joys of motherhood. Through their shared experiences, both Logan and Anna discovered the strength that comes from leaning on others and the unexpected blessings that can arise from life's darkest moments. As Logan settled into his new life, he began to notice the power of the community he had inadvertently built around him. It started with small gestures, Anna offering legal advice to a neighbor who faced eviction, Logan helping Claire's school with a fundraiser, or Sophia donating her old toys to a local shelter. Together, they began to engage more deeply with the people around them, creating connections that extended beyond their immediate circle. One memorable day, Anna invited Logan and Sophia to a community event she was sponsoring, a winter coat drive for underprivileged children. Logan was hesitant at first, unsure of how he could contribute, but Sophia insisted they attend. "We can help, Daddy," she said, her enthusiasm infectious. At the event, Logan was amazed by the turnout. Anna, ever the organizer, was at the center of it all, directing volunteers and ensuring everything ran smoothly. Seeing her in this role was eye-opening. She wasn't just a brilliant attorney or a devoted mother. She was a force for good in the lives of countless others. Inspired by her example, Logan found himself stepping up to help. He carried boxes of donations, interacted with families in need, and even stayed late to clean up after the event. By the end of the day, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. It was a reminder that even the smallest acts of kindness could ripple outward, touching lives in ways he might never fully understand. As the weeks passed, Logan became more involved in community initiatives, often teaming up with Anna to organize events or offer support to those in need. Together, they built something more than friendship, a shared purpose that brought out the best in both of them. Months turned into a year, and Logan's life had transformed in ways he could never have imagined during those dark days of struggle. His vocational training paid off, and he landed a job as a junior software developer at a local tech firm. It wasn't glamorous, but it was stable, fulfilling, and gave him the flexibility to spend more time with Sophia. His relationship with Anna and Claire also deepened. Their families became inseparable, celebrating holidays together and supporting each other through life's ups and downs. One summer evening, as they gathered for a backyard barbecue, Sophia and Claire performed a duet they had been practicing, their laughter ringing out like music. Logan and Anna exchanged a glance, a shared understanding passing between them. This was what happiness looked like. But the most profound moment came one chilly autumn morning. Logan received a letter from the construction company he had sued, informing him that their safety reforms had been fully implemented. The letter included a handwritten note from one of the site managers, thanking him for standing up for the workers and ensuring a safer environment. Logan's hands trembled as he read it. His fight hadn't just been for himself, it had created lasting change for others. That same day, he took Sophia to visit the park where it all began. As they stood beneath the oak tree, its branches now bare in the crisp autumn air, Logan told her the story of Claire's fall and how it had set everything in motion. "Sometimes," he said, his voice steady, "the hardest moments in life lead to the most unexpected blessings." Sophia looked up at him, her eyes wide with understanding. "You were her hero, Daddy," she said softly. "And now you're my hero too." Logan smiled, pulling her into a hug. "You're the reason I never gave up, Sophia. You're my everything." Their lives, once defined by struggle and uncertainty, had become a testament to resilience, kindness, and the strength that comes from leaning on others. Logan's story wasn't just about overcoming hardship. It was about finding hope, building connections, and discovering that even in the darkest times, light could shine through. As they left the park that day, Logan felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. The road ahead would still have challenges, but he was no longer walking it alone. He had Sophia, Anna, Claire, and a community of people who believed in him. And for the first time in a long time, he believed in himself too.